Hello, and welcome back to another Sonic Screwdriver video. In this one, I thought we'd do something a little bit different. Originally, I thought, let's take a look at the brand new online exclusive, the Third Doctor and Sonic Screwdriver Vortex Edition set. But the more I thought about it, everyone is looking at this at the minute and doing videos on it. So I thought, well, what would be different? What would be better than, just taking a look at this set? And I came to the conclusion, well, let's take a look at every single release of the Third Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver that we've had so far from Character Options. So we have 6 different releases here, or 5 depending on how you look at it, but we'll get to that later on. But yeah, we've got 6 different versions of the Third Doctor Sonic Screwdriver in front of me here. We've got the OG release, the original release from 2010, all the way to the latest release from 2025. So 15 years worth of Third Doctor's Sonic Screwdrivers. Pretty cool. I thought we'd take a quick look at the packaging for each one, go over the Sonic Screwdrivers themselves, compare them, look at the sounds and their details, all the fun stuff like that. So yes, we'll start off with the original release, of course. This was released in around August, September of 2010. It retailed for $19.99, so pretty good considering it was the first classic Sonic Screwdriver that we'd ever had from Character Options. And it came in this rather good looking packaging here. It's obviously a plastic bubble sort of plastic window, ballista card plastic, but it is very, very good. It looks very cool, and it's got lots of information about the Sonic Screwdriver. Lovely image of it in action there. And yeah, overall, just really big fan of this packaging. It obviously looks great on display, and this is at a time when they didn't even put the batteries inside the Sonic Screwdriver, which is really good. If you want to keep it on display in its packaging, you don't have to worry about the batteries corroding inside the Sonic Screwdriver, which is of course something that happens nowadays. But yeah, pretty cool. The Sonic Screwdriver looks really good as well. You can see it's 2 electronic sound effects. Oh wow. And yeah, the Sonic Screwdriver, it's shown off in that window very nicely, of course. And here is the Sonic Screwdriver itself. So it is a very nice Sonic. As you can hear, it has not got the correct sound effects, because the 2 sound effects that it has are actually the 9th and 10th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver sound effect. Yay! But, it was the first classic Sonic Screwdriver that Character Options ever released, so at this point, I could maybe forgive them for not having the classic sounds, because maybe they didn't have the classic sound effects. At this is what I was, thinking, well, I'll let them off. But yeah, we obviously have the thinner lines on the spiral and handle section, quite thin there. And we also have the red halo, I guess, emitter ring, which is it's not very bright. It's a bright red, but it's not bright. It's a red. It probably should be a bit darker, but for a first attempt, a first release, I think this is pretty good. The sound effects is the only thing that really lets it down, in my opinion. That's just one of them things, I guess. But overall, yeah, for a first attempt back in 2010, it is pretty decent. So next up, we have the re-release, which was released in a sort of 4-pack of Sonic Screwdriver re-releases, and you can see on the back here which Sonic Screwdrivers came in this wave. So yeah, this was the first sort of re-release wave, like I just said, that we had. So it was very nice for people who obviously missed out on the original release to get one, because this release and the original release pretty much identical to each other. There is not really many differences when you compare them. So the packaging obviously is very cool. We get a image of the Third Doctor here with his era, 1970 to 1974. We have electronic Third Doctor's sonic screwdriver. And again, sort of a similar bubble window that shows off the sonic screwdriver quite well. And like I said, on the back we have the other sonic screwdrivers that are in this wave. And yeah, you know, pretty cool overall. And here it is out of the packaging. So yes, essentially the exact same as the first release. Same sort of thickness of the lines here on the spiral section and the handle section. The emitter ring is the same sort of red. I suppose the inner bullet might look a bit different, like that sort of little bit that sticks out. Well, it sort of sticks out a bit here, but on this one it doesn't. I guess that's maybe a little different, or that could just be on these ones here. I don't know. Same 2 sound effects as before from the 9th and 10th Doctor's release. So yeah, but again, this is a straight up re-release, so you know, I didn't really expect anything else, to be honest. I didn't expect anything else. So next up we have the version 2, which was released in the Wave 3 re-releases. So this is sort of a updated version, I guess you can see here. Third Doctor 1970 to 1974, Third Doctor's V2 sonic screwdriver, and the packaging is pretty much identical, other than we've got a little Wave 3 in the top, and on the back obviously the sonic screwdrivers have changed because this is a different wave, Wave 3, so there's different sonic screwdrivers in this wave. But yeah, packaging other than that is pretty cool, but obviously the sonic screwdriver is where things change up. So you can just see from the packaging straight away here, we have a difference in the emitter color and the spiral section here, and also on the handle. So yeah, this is sort of the first time they'd actually altered the design, because this is just a straight up re-release. So they'd actually, I guess they've done some improvements depending on how you look at it, but this is the actual release here. So you can see we have a, I want to say maroon, but it's basically a brown. It's basically a brown emitter, and we have a thicker sort of spiral here, thicker lines, and also thicker lines on the handle section, which is, you know, it's, I don't know, I'd say thicker lines on this spiral section here, definitely an improvement. However, the thicker lines on the handle, I don't know, I think maybe they're a bit too thick, probably. I mean, if there was a middle ground between the thickness of these lines and these lines, that would probably be okay. But yeah. Obviously, when it comes to sound effects, still the wrong sounds, but instead of 2 sound effects this time, we get 4. And that's because it uses the same sound chip that we get in the 11th Doctor's sonic screwdriver. So yeah, even though they tried to make some improvements for this release, yeah, the sound effects are still completely wrong. And this version is from 2014, I believe. I think the Wave 1 was 2013. This one was either late 2013 or early 2014, but you know, by this time this had been out a good 4 years. They had time to get classic sonic screwdriver sound effects, and they didn't really, unless you count that, which, yeah, I don't really count that one, but so yeah, even though they tried to make some improvements here, didn't really happen very much. And this is where things get interesting, because this is Wave 3, but this is also Wave 3. So what happened here is they basically re-released Wave 3 in the updated packaging. So actually, this is probably from late 2013. This one is from 2014, after Capaldi had been the Doctor, because we've got the new logo here. And at first I thought, well, it's just a straight up repackage of the same screwdriver, and it essentially is. Obviously it's the Third Doctor sonic screwdriver, but there is a few differences between these. actually, which is pretty surprising. But the best way to look at it and spot it right now is to look at the thickness of the black line here. If you look here and you look here, then it becomes quite obvious really that the black line at the top of this one is a lot thicker than that. So yeah, I don't know why, but that is something that they did in between changing the packaging. They thought, let's make this bit a bit thicker. So yeah, so here's that one here. So I'd like to call this one the Wave 3.5 version, because obviously they're both Wave 3. So this is Wave 3 and this one is Wave 3.5. And you can see we have the sort of thicker line at the top. So to compare, we'll put both the Wave 3 versions together and you can see straight off the bat there just how big that line has become, which is very strange. You see the spiral thickness is still the same, still got the same brown, I'm going to say brown, emitter ring and everything like that. But yeah, they just changed the thickness of that section there, which is, that's something. Still the same sound effects. Oh. So yeah, a bit of a strange one when it comes to the Wave 3 version of the sonic screwdriver, but there is 2 versions of the Wave 3, so what do you know? So now we're going to fast forward all the way to 2019, okay, and we finally have this, which is a set that, it's just an amazing set when this came out. Now this was an Amazon exclusive, which is very strange because I think it's the only sort of Amazon exclusive we've ever had, but what a great one. It would have been great to get a few more sets like this with the other screwdrivers in, but yeah, it's not, anyway. So the third Doctor Sonic screwdriver in this set is, it is a strange one, okay? It's definitely the most unusual out of the bunch. So this set was released in 2019, like I said. It retailed for, I think, £70, and then it was released at a discounted price of £45. So the price sort of went up and down. I think the pre-order prices were £45. Then when it came out, it was £70, and then it went on sale for like Cyber Monday or something, and that's when I decided to pick some of them up for £45, which is pretty good by today's standard. In 2019, I think that was still maybe a bit expensive, but anyway. So obviously in this set, you get the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th/8th, 9th/10th, 11th/12th sonic screwdrivers in there, which is very cool. And out of all 6 of them, the worst one is the one we're about to look at. Yeah. So looking at the back, we'll see. Look at that. Now, we're going to look at the back again in a moment, but just take note of how the 3rd Doctor Sonic screwdriver looks there. Look at the thickness of these lines. Look at the colour of that emitter ring, okay? Because it ain't brown. Look at it. Okay. Now, in the set, obviously, you can see it's red. And not how it looks on the back. But yeah, okay. So I'm going to put this here for now. And we will bring out the actual sonic screwdriver we get in the set. So yeah, this is this one here, and looking at it like this, straight out of the box like this, you would probably think it is a straight up re-release of the original and Wave 1 release. It has the thin lines on the spiral and handle section, it's got the red emitter tip, but let me tell you something, it is not the same. This version seems to completely ignore the Wave 3 and Wave 3.5 version and goes back to the original sort of release. But the worst part is this. What is that? Yes. On this sonic screwdriver here, we have this section underneath the emitter, which is meant to be black. On every single previous release we've had, it's been black, but all of a sudden they decide to paint it red, which is very strange because it wasn't like that on the prop, it hasn't been like that on any toys. So yeah, Now, this sonic screwdriver does have the same sound chip as the Wave 3 version, so I guess it doesn't completely ignore it. So it's the 11th Doctor's sound chip. 4 sound effects. Not really classic sounds either, so still not great. And the fact that, you know, this goes back to sort of how this looks is very strange, because like I just showed you a minute ago, if we just take a look at the back of the box, we can see the image of the 3rd Doctor sonic screwdriver, and it has the thicker lines like this Wave 3 version here. It has the smaller top black section like this Wave section here, the Wave 3 section here, and it has the thick lines, you know, like here. So it looks more like the Wave 3 version than the original and the one we actually get in a box. So if they'd actually made it how it looks on the picture, this would probably be a good release, because the color of that emitter looks very good. It's not quite brown and it's not the bright red, it's a mixed sort of medium, and it looks great. But unfortunately, that isn't what we got in this set. Pretty similar to the 9th and 10th Doctor sonic screwdriver, even though it just says 10th here. But yeah, it shows the yellow wire twist, the helix being yellow in the middle, which of course it was not. It was black in the actual set that we got. It was black, not yellow like it's advertising. So yeah, there's a few differences between the images on the back and the actual sonic screwdrivers in the set, which I always thought was a bit weird. But you know what, this sonic screwdriver is the weirdest one out of all of them, and it's a shame really, because it could have been a good one if it looked like it did on the back. But yes, so that is the 5 versions of the 3rd Doctor sonic screwdriver that we've had for the last 15 years until this beauty was released. So yes, I've only got one of these actually, so I'll have to open it up quickly and just take it out. So here we have all 6 releases lined up on the stand together. You can see their similarities and differences here. Now on the end here, obviously we have the new Vortex Edition standing out from the crowd in its electro-plated finish, looking rather smart here. Brilliant set, was very happy to pre-order this, and yeah, it looks great. You know, I was very happy to get a Kronos Crystal Maggot and 3rd Doctor with sonic screwdriver accessory and sonic screwdriver, of course. Yeah, really cool set. Cost, I think, $44.99. Bit pricey, but you know, it's fine. I'll take it. Especially when you consider the original sonic screwdriver from 2010 was $19.99, and that was the first classic sonic screwdriver to ever be made. But that was back in 2010. Of course, things have changed, and we don't just get the sonic screwdriver in this set. We get the action figure and accessories, and you know what, it's a nice set. It's a really nice set, so I'm glad I picked one of them up. Only one, of course, because I just thought, well, I only need one really. Mainly bought it for the sonic screwdriver. Not sure if I'll display the figure or keep him in the box yet, but we'll see. So the sonic screwdriver itself, of course, we'll give it the one over. Now, obviously the electroplated finish looks absolutely fantastic on this release, and it suits it very well. It almost makes it look metal, depending in some angles, depending on how you look at it. But obviously, overall, it's sort of modeled off the Wave 3 version, the Wave 3 and the Wave 3.5 versions, I guess. So it does look quite good. We've got the thicker black lines on the handle section and spiral, and the sort of brown, sort of beige, well, it's not beige, sort of maroon. I want to say maroon, but it's not, it's brown, okay? I mean, some of you might disagree, but I think that's basically a brown. I mean, there's not really much red in there, is there? But yeah, obviously, out of all 6 releases, this is definitely the best one. And it's the best one for obvious reasons, because it actually is the only one to contain 3rd Doctor sonic screwdriver sound effects. So obviously we've got to have some modern sonic screwdriver sound effects on there as well, because you know, you just got to. So the two standard sound effects that we have are modern. So that was the first one. This is the second one. Now they do sound very similar, but you can hear they are different sounds. See, that one sort of has a quicker loop, whereas this one, there's a little sort of stop in between there. But yeah, so that's the two main sounds. If you double press, this is where things get a bit interesting. So that is disco mode. Yeah, that's the disco mode from the 12th Doctor's sonic screwdriver, which is, again, not accurate, but I guess it's a nice inclusion. It sort of fits with it. Sort of. Triple press down. Okay. There we go. There we go. We get the sound from the Sea Devils, the sonic screwdriver sound effect from, I think it's when he's blowing up the landmines, or it's a similar sound to that. But yeah, that's great. Now we also have one more sound effect. So quadruple press down, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we get another third Doctor sound. This isn't actually a sonic screwdriver sound effect. I think this was used on the door handle sound effect from, I think, Inferno. So, you know, not an actual sonic screwdriver sound effect, but it's still a sound effect from the third Doctor's era. So I'll take it, guys. I'll take it. So pretty cool overall. I'm going to say this is definitely the best version that we've had so far. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. There's still a few things I think they could have improved on it. What I think would be better, first off, swap the sound effects around. The sound effects are all cool, and I don't mind having the modern sound effects, but if the two third Doctor sound effects, if they were the first sound effects, like the two main sound effects, so you could just press it once, and again it would make the third Doctor sound effect, that would probably be better. That would be better. But you know what? The fact that it actually has third Doctor sound effects in there, that's just great. We'll just give it that one anyway. Second improvement I'd make, probably the colour of the emitter ring. So I'd make it more of a red. Basically, I would make it exactly like it is in that picture, where it's not as bright as the sort of original red, but it's not as dark as what we ended up with on the Wave 3 and Vortex Edition. So yeah. And you know, the third thing I'd probably do is the lines. So the thickness of the lines on the spiral, I would say they're fine. You know, they're decent. They cracked that with the Wave 3 release, ruined it on the collection release, brought it back in the Vortex release. So yeah, that's great. The thickness of the lines on the handle section, however, definitely would make them a tad bit thinner. You can see here on my replica of the third Doctor's sonic screwdriver. So this is the little Shop Props replica, which I don't actually think we've taken a look at on the channel before, but yes, this is my ultimate third Doctor replica, I guess. So this is how it should sort of look, and you can see here first off, you can see the emitter, the color of the emitter. Look at that, it's sort of a red, but it's, you know, it's not a brown. So if that was the same color or of a similar color, then that would be perfect. Obviously the thickness of the yellow lines, I say they're okay, maybe a bit too thick, but we'll say they're fine. You know, the thickness of the lines on the handle here, they're too thick. Obviously they should be like that, so probably closer to how they had it originally, maybe a tiny little bit thicker. And last but not least, obviously it stands out like a sore thumb. Now I have brought this replica out. You can see the red section here. So on every single toy release, they've given us this top section of the handle being black, when in actual fact it should have been red. So it's not too big of a deal, but it's just something that you notice, especially when you compare it to the actual replica. Like, if this bit was red here on this Vortex Edition release, then it would be the ultimate version. I mean, it still is the ultimate toy, I guess. It's still the best toy version that you can get out there, but I think it would have made it pretty near perfect, I guess, if they just made that section red at the top. And it's probably a bit too thick as well, but yeah, we'll let that slide. I know it's just sort of growing and shrinking and growing. But yeah, so overall, the best one out of the 6 is obviously the Vortex Edition. After that, I would say it depends on how you look at it, really. If you prefer the sort of red and the thinner lines, then obviously you're going to go for the original release or the Wave 1 re-release. And if you're more of a fan of the brown sort of, you know, emitter and thicker lines, then obviously you're going to go for the Wave 3 versions. But ultimate release, obviously the Vortex. In joint second, third, fourth, I guess, is these ones. And obviously in last, it's got to be this one, because who wants that? I mean, why? I suppose you could just paint it black, but why? You know, the fact that they did that and they've never done it again, and even on the picture on the back of the box, it doesn't look like that. To me, that was probably a factory mistake. So thank God we didn't end up with this bit being bright red or brown or anything like that. So, you know, it could have been worse. I'll take what we can get, guys. I'll take what we can get. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for this video, I guess. Bit of a strange one, so thanks very much for watching. Let me know in the comments which version of the third Dr. Sonic screwdriver you guys have, and which one do you think is best. Are you guys going to be picking up the new Vortex Edition, or, you know, is it a bit too pricey, because it is on the expensive side, I guess. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, and hopefully we'll see more electroplated Sonic screwdriver classic releases, you know, soon. There's meant to be 4 more online exclusive sets coming. I'm not sure that they'll all be like this one, but I can imagine 1 or 2 of them being a bit similar. So, you know, maybe we'll see a 4th or 5th Doctor's Sonic screwdriver re-release in the electroplated finish, and if we do, we'll be sure to do another video on that. But yeah, that's it for this one, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my Instagram for more Sonic screwdrivers, of course. That's it for now. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.